I will encourage you to go further down the layer with this program. This is one of the best opportunities, because when we talk about the security challenges we're having in Nigeria, we must all understand that the security challenges are internal security issues. We don't really have any external aggression. With a normal security architectural framework, the military are not even supposed to be too involved even at this stage. It is, I'm sorry to say, it is the inability of our internal security agencies, probably due to a lot of investment, finance, that has led even our military to be so stretched at this point in time. And we're lucky as a nation that we don't have external aggression at this point. Imagine how stretched our military, how stretched the military is today. Imagine there's an external aggression. What happens to Nigeria? So all these issues now have brought the responsibility to the National Assembly to sit down as the policymakers, as the lawmakers, to be able to critically distillate this whole issue. Let's distill the issues. Let us now look at our internal security agencies, starting from the police to the immigration, to the civil defense, to customs, to all the security. Let us do an audit of the enabling laws. I'm so happy that the chairman EFCC spoke before I spoke, because he said what was on my mind. Because when you look at some of these laws, honestly speaking, it's like you set up agencies set up to fail. That's the truth. If you look at the 2025 budget, how much do you even have for border security? That's the truth. The whole budget of Nigeria Immigration Service is less than, I think it's about, the capital budget is less than 10 billion or something, naira. And you want to protect 4,024 square kilometers of our border space. Are we joking? We are geographically challenged. Let's call a spade, because Nigeria is a country. If you look at countries that share similarities with Nigeria, you see what they invest in border governance, you'll be shocked. For example, you look at a country like Turkey. You look at what they spend. Turkey, because they know they lie between Asia and, of course, Europe. They know the challenges, and they look at the neighbors. Nigeria is so challenged. Let's call it a spade. Nigeria, we are in two geographical areas. We have a part within the Sahel, and you know what's happening within the Sahel. On the other side is the Gulf of Guinea. So we are in between. So from the maritime side, from the Sahel, and anything that happens in Libya, that happens in Burkina Faso, in Mali, and all these countries, the end point is Nigeria. So, and a lot of these people, most of what we have in Nigeria today are even economic crimes, as the chairman said, because most of these people, they need to come to Nigeria, kidnap, do all this, raise funds to be able to fuel insecurity, even in neighboring countries. So Nigeria is seen as the rich country, as the big brother here. So there's a lot that we need to invest. Let's call a spade what it is. If we continue to pay lip service to this issue, we sit down, we talk, and we don't really look at the issues on ground. We will just be joking. And again, in reviewing our laws, because for me, I am not in favor of over-legislating issues, to be sincere. Because like EFCC, we must look at because you can't link insecurity, you can't deal with insecurity and not talk of financing, terrorism financing. We must look at the EFCC law, look at the bites that we need to give, and look at all these things in a bigger scale. And also, please, because I don't want to really take too much time, we must also, beyond the issue of our border, let's call where Nigeria is at a point now that the United States was before September 11, 2001. After the September 11 attack, the United States sat down. The Homeland Security Department was formed only after September 11. And after that time, the TSA, Transport Security Agency of America, came to being. After that, even CISA, that is a Critical Infrastructure Security Agency, came to being. They looked at emerging threats because the information for 9/11 was available in America. But the problem was that there was no harmonization of information and there was no clear strategy to stop it. The issue is that we have some of the most brilliant people in our DSS. We have our NIA doing fantastically well. You can see the kind of leadership that the NSA is providing. But the simple truth is that when we talk about security, internal security, the first thing that comes to a Nigerian mind is the military. That is a sign of failure of our internal security agencies. Let's tell ourselves the truth. So for me, the police, in terms of adequate funding, I do not see a reason why our police, for instance, should even rely on budgetary allocation. Let's call a spade a spade. I don't see it. We're talking about the most populous black nation on earth. Africa has a population of 1.2 billion people. 240 of that population are Nigerians. And you have a police that depends on budget, capital release, and all these things, and you think we will be efficient. Sir, my brother Ben, I have utmost trust in your coordination as chairman of this council. For if we have an opportunity now to get it right. And also, before I leave, something is very important I must say. When you are fighting internal insecurity, citizenship mobilization is at the center of your success. You must mobilize your citizens. Because everybody must not see this as an APC problem. Nobody must see this as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's problem. We must not see it as a government problem. We must see it as our problem. Every criminal has a neighbor. So, in terms of citizenship mobilization, we must sit down, look at our laws, and be able to organize and be able to work on that. And also, let me say this. When you are talking about security, there are some of our agencies that were formed under the military, that the rationale and the justification of their formation at this stage has moved beyond that. We cannot continue to service agencies that are not meeting our needs in the 21st century. I'll give you an example. The Road Safety Corps today has almost about 28,000 officers paying salary. And police are being put, you see, on our road to secure the road, to do this, it is still the same police force. The same police force that will run after armed robbers, that will run after this, and you are paying 28,000 people. Sir, why can't we, if possible, it's a suggestion of mine, look at the possibility of even a transport security agency, so that at the end of the protection of this critical logistical infrastructure comes to these people that are already on the payroll. We are not increasing payroll, but we can maximize the efficiency of these men. So we must look at, nobody says you should scrap them, but we can look at how to reform them in line with global standard. And also, I must also say this before I go, please, because there's a lot to talk about, but because I don't want to bore you. We must also say this. The attention that we are paying to cyber security, we are still living 20 years behind. You cannot continue to run a cyber security architecture on what's it called, an ad hoc arrangement. There must be proper security framework, because the next war is going to be of cyber, and we must prepare. So many nations in the world already, as far back as 3-4 years ago, they had the 4th army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Cyber Force. So many countries are already ahead of that. We are still here. So, sir, I want you, that's why I said there will be need for more and more. We must, and like what the CJNIS said, you cannot have a constitution that talks about internal security, the police force. And in terms of your border, it becomes everybody's business and nobody's business. You can't expect efficiency. There has to be that. Everywhere in the world, the immigration service is responsible. But when you have an immigration service that is even struggling to have an armory, when you have an immigration service that are struggling with, what do we do? And we have forgotten, the one you kill one terrorist and the border is porous, 20 will come in, and the military are challenged. So for us, we need to be very realistic with ourselves. Do we want a system that works, or we just want to play, to the gallery? We know Mr. President is about what works, and we have seen with what he has done across the nation. I want to plead with you, the National Assembly. Please, let's look holistically at our challenges. Let us anticipate problems. That's what leadership and lawmaking is about. Lawmaking is not about laws that will solve the problem of yesterday. Lawmaking is about anticipatory. Look ahead. What are the problems that will come in the next 20 years? Look at emerging security threats and provide solutions ahead of time. If we are able to do this. Lastly, let me give one example. After this, I promise you, lastly is lastly. After this, lastly is lastly, because I don't want to bore you. Look at even our points of entry, even at our airports today. God forbid anything happens. What is the reaction? Let's call it spade. And you go and look at the trend all over the world, maybe in the Middle East, in Europe, in America. Once the military or the state actors deals with terrorists in the enclaves, what's the next target? Is logistics supply and transport. Already with what our military is doing, believe me, they are decimating these people. Wonderful work by our armed forces. But the issue is this. Do we expect the military to decimate in those creeks, in the forest, and all these places, and also come and decimate? We need to sit down and project. What do you think a terrorist will be thinking? We should be thinking ahead of them and be providing solutions even before they think. That is what lawmaking is about. Right, Honorable Ben, I said it the other time. I have absolute confidence in your leadership. I have absolute confidence in your capacity and with the wonderful, brilliant, energetic minds that we have. I know we can finally have a constitution and a review of establishment acts of agency, because to me, you can't put everything in the constitution. You must look at exactly a review of this act. I believe that under this Assembly Tajuddin Abbas leadership, we will get it right. And Mr. President is there to provide the direction. He has shown that the will is there to deliver. That is not in question, but he needs you to do the job for him to execute. God bless you.